what I want to talk to you today is about this zombie apocalypse, which is so hip in the news today. And what I would argue is that it really shouldn't be hip because it's been happening for a long time. I'm going to talk about 5 things today which, and not to be overdramatic, can help you save your life. Okay, so the first thing is zombies are real. You have to believe that, and then the rest of them will make sense. But I'm not talking about the Hollywood reanimated corpse, decaying flesh, brain-hungry type of zombie that you're so notoriously inundated with all the time. I'm talking about a different type of zombie. So these are zombies that probably, I'm guessing, are in this room right now. And if they're not in this room, I guarantee you know a zombie. So I'm going to show you a little video which will help explain what I'm talking about when I say the word zombie.
When I grow up, I want to file all day.
I want to claw my way up to middle management.
Be replaced on a whim.
I want to have a brown nose.
I want to be a yes man.
Yes woman.
Yes, sir. Coming, sir.
Anything for a raise, sir.
When I grow up,
I want to be underappreciated.
Be paid less for doing the same job.
I want to be forced into early retirement.
So that commercial came out in 1999. I think it was a Super Bowl, so maybe some of you have seen it, but it stuck with me because I know people that are like that. They're not really living, they're just kind of getting by, which is not why we're here. I'm going to show you some pictures of zombies. So nobody grew up thinking, you know what, I've made it, I get to smell armpits for a living every day, right? So, zombie, zombie, zombie. Nobody grew up, and look at the guy's face that's standing in front of the elephant. He's thinking, I don't know him personally, I'm guessing, he's thinking the only way my life could be worse if I was the guy with my head up the elephant's butt. Total zombie. All right, so how do you spot a zombie since they're not what Hollywood is depicted? So, what I've done is I've created what I call the awesomeness chart. So the awesomeness chart basically goes from positive 100 to negative 100. And a positive 100 day would be I won the Masters. I got drafted by the Chicago Bulls. I won the Powerball. Those are positive 100 days. And then your negative days are things that went wrong. I really had a bad day. And in blue is a non-zombie. So you have great days, you have bad days, but you're living. In red is a zombie day. So this would be, I left work 5 minutes early. That's a great day. Or I screwed up my TPS cover sheet. That's a terrible day. But the range is very narrow. And so for me, like today, so let's say I screwed up this talk. I'm in front of hundreds of people. I fall off the stage. I drop the brain. Something goes wrong. Okay, that's going to be a minus 20, 30, 40 day for me. Then it goes viral on YouTube. Now I'm at a minus 60 day tomorrow. That's crappy. And then I'm on Tosh.0, so they get the video and I get a web redemption. So now that's awesome. So now I'm at a plus 80 day. But it's the difference which is what's critical. So that area that I've highlighted in yellow is what's important, is you are not living unless you're taking risk. The fact that you can fail makes your successes that much more great. All right, so let's play a game. How many people watch The Office? So you know all the characters in The Office. There's Dwight and Jim and Michael and Andy. And of those characters, there are zombies. Now that you know what to look for, the behaviors to look for, it's easy for me, I see them everywhere now, to spot a zombie. Like Stanley, total zombie. He just is a clock watcher, he can't wait to leave work, he hates what he does, zombie. Toby, the HR guy, all he wants to do is kill fun. He's a zombie. So you may be asking, hopefully at this point, who is this guy and why is he talking to us about zombies? Well, I'll give you my story. So since I can remember, my parents told me that I was going to be a doctor. Every opportunity I had, I was going to be a doctor. That's all I heard. So I'd go out and I'd scrape my knee. My mom would say, you know, what should you do for a scraped knee? Band-Aid? That's exactly what a great doctor would say. Really? So they'd implanted that thought in my head for a long time, you know, which sounds pretty awesome, right? So you're a doctor, you make a lot of money, you play a lot of golf, you probably get your own TV show. Not so bad. The problem for me is that wouldn't be my reality. So my reality would be, I hate the sight of blood. I'm a gigantic pansy when it comes to anything with the body that's not supposed to be the way it is. So my reality would look more like this. Like going to work and passing out every day is a terrible sounding career for me. So I said, no thanks. So this is my junior year of college. After 3 years of pre-med, I come to this epiphany moment, which is, screw that. Making decisions for security and safety and money is not what I want to do. So I thought back to all the classes that I'd taken, and I really liked the psychology classes. And I had no desire to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but I, at that point, said, I'm only going to make decisions for me, which I'm passionate about or interested in, and I don't really care about the money and the security and the safety. Let's just see what happens. So I did, and I ended up with a psychology degree, which I knew I wasn't going to do anything with, so I graduated from college, and then I thought, well, what do I love to do in my spare time? So I was, you probably are going to say, duh, super nerdy as a kid. So I started teaching myself how to write software when I was 12, and this is back in the early 80s. So I had something that looked like that, which was my actual computer. So no mouse, because it didn't exist yet. Floppy drives, because there was no hard drive yet. But I started teaching myself how to write software and build games just in my spare time, going to the library, looking it up, because I love to do it. So I graduate from college, and then somehow I find a company that will give me a job writing software. You're kidding me. Somebody's going to pay me to do something I would do for free. Well, that's awesome. So I do that for a few years, and then fast forward, I start a company downtown Cincinnati writing software. So I start hiring people that I really enjoyed working with. And the reason I started a company, it wasn't that I was unhappy doing what I was doing. I really loved it. But I've always thought in the back of my head, I want to start a business at some point. And so I did. And I knew I was going to make less money doing this than working for a big health insurance company. But I didn't care. So it's all about that experience, right? I don't care if I fail. I just don't want to be 65 years old and say, I wish I would have. And so I start this company. It goes really, really well. And we start hiring a bunch of people, and we grow quickly. And then I start another company. So this one starts to merge all the things that I'm really passionate about. So technology, statistics, data, math, games. And so I build this thing called WhatIfSports, based here out of Cincinnati. And that goes really, really well. And I can't believe that I'm making money doing all the things that I love to do. Like our meetings are talking about, you know, college basketball rules and how should this game work. And it was incredible that this is a job for me. So that goes so well, I end up selling that business to Fox. But none of those things would have happened if after my junior year of college, I don't have this epiphany and say, I am not going to be a zombie. I'm not going to make decisions based on what is secure and what is safe and for money. I just don't want to do that. So, how do you prevent infection? Well, there are two primary ways, I think, that you can get infected and turn into a zombie. So the first one, I think, is pretty obvious. Corporate America. So see if this sounds familiar to you. You graduate from college. You probably have some debt. You are super tired of eating ramen noodles, so you get a job. and they pay you money, which is great. And you're thinking in the back of your head, well, I'm going to take a job that pays me the most, and then eventually I will move on and pursue whatever I'm really passionate about. What happens, though, in reality, is you get that job, and you buy a car, and then you buy a house, and then you get married, and then you have kids, and all of a sudden, your expenses are at a point where you cannot leave. You are locked in. What are you going to do? That's a problem. The second one is trying to undo 200,000 years of genetic engineering. So humans have been around for 200,000 years, and I can understand 200,000 years ago where your top priority as a parent is to make sure your baby isn't eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. So I get that, I totally do, but that's not realistic anymore. I don't know why that is such a hard thing for parents to break the cycle of. It's like you have to get good grades so you can get into a good college, so you can get a good job, so you can make good money, so you don't live with me when you graduate. That's the whole process for a parent. And I think that's wrong. Totally agree with safety and security at some level, but it should be more about happiness and adventure and try new things. All right, so let's say you are a zombie, or you know someone who is a zombie, and you need to get treated. Well, here's how you go about it. Ask yourself, what do you love to do? This is so simple. You just sit back and say, what do you love to do? Are you doing it? If not, why not? What are you waiting for? Step out of your comfort zone. So I know more people than I care to admit that have really great ideas, and they want to do all these really great things, but they're afraid of failure. And what I'm trying to get across to them is that failure helps amplify success. If you don't take risks, you are not living. So try things. Sign up for a TED Talk. You probably won't fall off the stage. It's not as bad as I make it look. Help the next generation. So this goes back to the parents. You're really trying to undo 200,000 years of our genetic makeup. But at some point, that starts with the parents. And the last piece is start today, because tomorrow is an excuse, and I totally believe that. And so I want to leave you with one last story. So this is my unbelievably good friend, Matt. He's the guy that's smiling. He graduated from Xavier, and he looks like that all the time, by the way. He is laughing, just a gentle giant, the happiest guy you'll ever meet. So he graduated from Xavier, and I met Matt 20 years ago in my very first MBA class here. And we just happened to get paired up in a communications class, and so we were partners, and I got to know him, and he was just like me, except like twice the size and not as good looking. Other than that, he was just like me. So we immediately hit it off. We started taking as many classes as we could together. We would go out drinking together. We ended up in the back of a police car together. We would play golf together. He was great. And so I was more coming from the technology side. He's coming more from the marketing side. And what happened was we kind of taught each other things about where he was coming from, where I'm coming from, and he really got into technology. Started to teach himself hardware and networking, and super smart guy, trying anything. So all of that went really well. And there's a lot of things that he was able to do, and there's a lot of things that he wasn't able to do because my friend Matt passed away yesterday morning. This was not the ending to this talk that I was planning on giving. But I got that call, and he'd been fighting cancer for a long time. And it was really difficult to watch him go through that, knowing he's got 3 young boys. And it really served to kind of re-inspire me. I'm already passionate about telling anyone who will listen, you only have one life. Stop wasting your time. Just do what makes you happy. And so when I see something like this happen to someone so great, so young. It really gets me re-energized to come out and use him as an inspiration that don't wait. You just never know what's going to happen. So with that, I will leave you with really one request, and that is it's up to everybody in this room. If you're not a zombie, that's awesome. Find somebody who is. Help them break the cycle. Help them break the habit. But it really is up to all of us to stop the zombies, and there is my Office Space reference. If you haven't seen it, you need to go get it. It's fantastic. So with that, I say thank you very much.